What exactly would you say if your child looked up at you and asked you about God and if he exists and if he's true, and wondered what would happen when someone dies? Is there a heaven? And what about that man up on the cross? Am I forgiven? How exactly would you answer those hopeful little eyes when you're college educated and convinced it's all a lie? Sure, you went to Sunday school when you were young, but that was then. You're above those simple thoughts now. The only God you know is man. Are you saddened and ashamed to tell this little soul that you don't believe in anything and have no reason and no hope? There's no heaven and no meaning. There's no purpose to our lives. That you believe we're just evolved, random mutations come alive. You know better than an insect, son, and when you die, that's it. I've learned through education that good and bad just don't exist. It's all just evolution. It's survival of the fittest. And we can get you a prescription when your life becomes depressed. I'm sorry that I've crumbled all your hopes and all your dreams, but it's time you realize that life's not what it seems. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists? Have you replaced all that was real for a life of benefits and created your own truth? A happy atheist. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists, and you replace all that was real for a life of benefits and created your own truth? A happy atheist. You realize your answers could just shatter all these dreams and everything that ever mattered to this precious little being who had belief in certain peace and received that inner voice inside his conscience, and his conscious mind believed. And it sickens you to think, cause you've been driven by your ego and your greed, and he sees it. You don't practice what you preach. You've lost your dignity, and you've succeeded in destroying all belief and defeated all his real hopes and dreams. They might never be retrieved, and the flame within his heart almost completely is extinguished, and the holes within his soul are filled with mimics, and the message of God's grace within his mind has been diminished, because the answers that you gave him took a piece of his existence, and the power of your words were unforeseen, and in that very moment you destroyed the very purpose of his being. And now he's lost, he's alone, and he's convinced that life does not make sense, and he's forgotten that God even exists. He's replaced all that was real for a life of counterfeits and created his own truth. A happy atheist. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists? Have you replaced all that was real for a life of counterfeits and created your own truth? A happy atheist. Are you lost? Are you alone? Are you convinced that life does not make sense? Have you forgotten that God even exists? And you replaced all that was real for a life of benefits and created your own truth. A happy atheist.
Destined for this time and age, bringing the message with solutions that prepares a way. While we're still human, moving closer towards the judgment day, they have invaded, grooming sheeple as they set the stage. I fear no evil, I got Jesus my deliverer. I've been forgiven, saved, no longer a prisoner. I've been redeemed, made, I'm an alien, a visitor. That's right, I'm freed, I'm remade with the signature. Got a new vision, I've been saved because his son is risen. It's a decision that was made to send me on this mission, exposing lies and proclaiming truth without no fear. We see the signs of the times and we shout it clear. Unfolding prophecy that's obviously happening, erupting rapidly, it's absolutely baffling. We cannot panic even if they plan a whole pandemic. We knew eugenics was a scam to hybridize genetics. Needed a lie to unite the world to all obey. They've always tried through a about time to change our DNA, paving the way for the Antichrist and one world government with sheep are lining up to take the mark. They're loving it. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know has been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know has been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. The truth is exclusive, it's not relative, it's absolute. It's undisputed, it's been proven, there's no substitute. Conclusive facts are now offensive in our current times. You'll get attacked if you attempt to shift a paradigm. You can't relax enough to share your mind or even have a thought. You might get bullied by the left, acting like robots. Automatons that respond like they're human pawns. Virtue signaling their masks toward Babylon. In every area we're seeing mass hysteria, and not just in America but everywhere. We're staring in the face of Armageddon as we're heading towards apocalyptic waters that we're treading for America's dead end, producing misanthropic modern day demonic like embodiments, modifying their minds, their bodies and environments, censoring anything that's offensive into the narrative, threatening anybody whose actions are not affirmative. So what's the real message we're seeing from these progressives? If you don't agree with them, then they get violent and aggressive. Essentially what they're doing is making people submissive, till eventually beliefs and opinions won't be permitted. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know has been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know has been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. Open your eyes, hear the warning call. The great divide on both sides and the lies told big and small. But unified we will never fall. With Jesus Christ on our side, we're like watchmen on the wall. His word was given as pre-written future history, and can be counted on with confidence and certainty. Not poetry or allegory in its own category. Absolutely, positively, it's his story. For everything there is a season. There comes a time to serve a purpose that is planned out for a reason. When evil needs to be defeated, we must unite and come together and even fight if it be needed. Ready for anything, prepared for coming prophecy. It's like we're living in the movie Idiocracy. No second guessing, I got weapons, I got ammunition. Both in the spiritual and physical, I have a mission. Protect my faith and my family from the opposition. I'm not afraid to take a stand and make a split decision. I know my rights, I know the law, so don't you tread on me. Won't turn my cheek if you try to take my liberty. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know has been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling. What in the world could be happening when everyone that you know has been controlled into panicking? Mind control like the mannequins. Is this a sign of the times? Revelation unraveling.
We live in a world where many people are influenced. They listen to demons constantly. That's what's influencing them. They don't even understand. They think it's their own mind and their own thoughts, but they don't understand that there's demons speaking to them and leading everything they do. That's why the only way to break free is to follow Jesus. Because the whole world is in this spiritual evil darkness. And they're constantly being influenced by forces that they don't see.
I have this reoccurring dream, I'm on a battleground. With bullets whizzing by my head, the bombs are all around. I'm trying to fight the enemy, but they're invisible. No place to run and hide, extremely inhospitable. A barren land that's treacherous and perilous. Malicious feelings all around me that are merciless. It's a hazardous environment that's sinister. I feel like Jonah in the whale, like I'm a prisoner. It's just like him, my weapons are not physical. My arsenal consists of powers that are spiritual. I got a sling and stone to face all of my giants. Even if I'm all alone, trapped in a den of lions, I can count for your own eternal soul when the time is getting critical. Sometimes life is just like on the movie screen. Sometimes life is just like in a scary dream. Sometimes life is thinking what comes after death. Cause sometimes life is taking in your last breath. Sometimes life is just like on the movie screen. Sometimes life is just like in a scary dream. Sometimes life is thinking what comes after death. Cause sometimes life is taking in your last breath.
Oh, are we live? Hello, welcome to Creative Chaos. I'm glad I didn't just burp. All right, so Creative Chaos every week, Flip City Magazine interviews fascinating people creating fascinating things outside the mainstream. We speak with the real culture warriors, individuals that are actually building up the parallel society that we all want. We reject the terrible mainstream and fully support the fierce independence of these builders of a much better culture. Plus, we plan on having a few laughs along the way. So we hope you'll enjoy it. And please like, share, and subscribe. And let's get into some housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I come in anyway?
No, go away.
I come in anyway.
All right. Hey, so I first want to thank our opening house band tonight. That was Destiny Lab. For anybody that came in a little bit of early, Destiny Lab was entertaining you, and you can find their link in the description of the video. So a while back, oh, by the way, Flip City Magazine is the sponsor of Creative Chaos, as always. And a while back, Flip City fed the beast of Facebook to run an ad that looked like this. So it says, tired of woke? And that statement is what I thought an extremely benign and innocent statement. And this coming even from somebody wearing a tinfoil hat should make everybody kind of go, tee. Well, what happened were the legion of screamers got big mad to see Flip City question their religion. So let's take a look at some of the comments that we got on this ad. So Jason Togyer, Kick Rocks Jagoffs, anti-woke, is an idiot asleep. And Paul Schroeder, he wouldn't give up. He said, since we should know, please define woke for me. It just sounds like a term angry people use to complain about the modern world. And we've got Bob up here. Yes, I'm tired of seeing and hearing it used as a dog whistle for people who want to continue being regressive, unempathetic shitheads. That's us. Next. So periodical dedicated to hating gays and transgender people then? Sounds horrible. Cringe, says Richard. Gregory, yikes, just yikes. Bill Meadows, woke. Lots of laughing. And then basically Flip City Magazine is grifters. Bigoted basement dweller grifters. Wait. We did that one. Sorry, I might have doubled up on these cause. I think I did. I doubled up. Anyway, the Legion of Screamers came out, and I found it to be very interesting that They were very mad at a woman in a tinfoil hat suggesting people laugh at woke. I didn't know that being anti-woke was hating gays or anything like that. And I guarantee you, none of those people that were reading about Flip City being tired of woke and suggesting that we laugh at it, getting so butthurt. So this beautifully executed triggering should encourage anybody that's tired of woke to take a look at Flip City. It is actually a physical magazine. See, it's right here, Flip City. And believe me, these Facebook critics would probably fall over dead if they actually took a look inside. And we want you to fall over dead too, just with laughter. So if you're tired of woke and enjoy laughing at it, head over to flipcitymag.com, take a look at our free magazine. And seriously, you can do that right now. I don't even care if you stay for the stream. flipcitymag.com. Let's bring in my sidekick, Batman. Hey, you just got here, Batman. Nice to see you.
I flew into my chair.
Yeah. Hey, I am super excited for this stream tonight. First off, I believe we're going to have a super cool guest tonight. I'm not sure if he's showing or not. It may be the first time.
He's in the waiting room. He's in the waiting room.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that update. And but something else that's super exciting and why I dressed up a little bit tonight is because it is a milestone. It is our 10th stream.
Yay!
Yay! And I want to bring out the man behind the curtain, our producer, Cosmic Grandpa. Please, Cosmic, if you can. He's
Let me find me in here. I'm in here somewhere.
There you are.
I had to pull me up without pulling everybody else up. So there I am.
Thank you, disembodied voice, for showing your face and your Flip City magazine hat. I want to thank both you and, well, you first for making this stream so awesome and allowing me to be able to just kick back, chill, and talk with the guests when we have them on. And Batman, thank you very much for being my sidekick and helping out.
Absolutely.
So I prepared this. So it's our 10th stream. Yay! Yay!
Confetti.
Yes, I have confetti. And I messed up my desk for the rest of the stream. All right.
Just as long as you didn't get it in your drink.
I did not, actually.
It's in your hair. It's in your hair, but it's not in your drink. Oh, well, that's
cute. That's adorable, actually. Hey, so let's see. I think it is time to bring in our guest. And I'm going to go ahead and read a bio if you're ready with that slideshow, Cause. Let's go ahead and do it. So my guest tonight is Alexander Ferrar, and he went from zero to hero, from a good-for-nothing prodigal son and collector of participation trophies to the Renaissance man, chef, owner of a very popular restaurant, author of 20 books, successful Baroque artist, and philanthropist. And all it took was a lot of hard work and discipline. He returned from a near-death experience in 2002 and took the long way back home to his body. On the way, he talked to God or the universe or whatever you want to call it, and saw our world from a different vantage point. What he saw was shocking, and he returned to tell us the truth about the world we think we live in form of 20 romance, comedy, and adventure novels dealing with hot topic issues such as illegal immigration, human trafficking, the refugee crisis, transphobia, gender issues, Pizzagate, polyamory, interracial relationships, the plight of gays in Muslim countries, and various reasons the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Welcome our guest, Alexander Ferrar. And you're going to want to unmute. Oh, look at you. I see you, but I can't hear you. Unmute. lower left, I believe. Hey, Alex.
Hi, how are you?
I am
Can you hear
so
me now?
wonderful. Yes, I can. And I was really, really hoping you were going to wear your snazzy outfits that I'm jealous of, I
Oh,
guess.
sorry to disappoint you.
What? you're
I
you're
was
wearing it
going
right
to put
now.
on a snazzy outfit, but I was in a hurry. And I'm sorry I logged on late. I was solving a murder.
Mm.
It's just, I also have a restaurant, and it's in full swing right now, and I was needed.
I thank you very much for hastily getting into wherever you are. I'm assuming that may be a patio at your restaurant.
We're up on the terrace right now. Luckily, it's completely deserted aside from all these people.
Delightful.
This is going to be tough. I was hoping to be in a private place where I could, feel comfortable because I am terribly shy. But
I
so now
would not have guessed. I would not have guessed. You know,
Did my
I've been
nose grow any longer? I might actually, I might knock the camera over with my nose growing so long. But there are other people at the tables up here, and so I'm going to have to watch my language at least until they leave.
Okay, that works for me. I'm not saying we run any kind of family friendly stream, not by a long shot, but you know, come as you are, say as you please. So I am just blown away at your bio. This is the first time we are ever speaking, and it's such a pleasure to have you on my stream. I'm just so excited to get to know you.
Thank you.
So I kind of wanted to get the books out of the way because everything else in your bio is just kind of mind blowing. So tell us about tell us about your writing.
So I have 23 books out now, by the grace of God. They range from steamy crime thrillers to comedies, adventure, romance. My first 9 books were steamy crime thrillers, but my brother's children asked, "Hey, when can we read Uncle Alex's books?" And their dad said, "When you're 30. So I thought, oh, okay. My books are unsuitable for a lot of people. I get it. And so I decided to reel it in and start writing books that were more suitable to other people, people with different sensibilities. And so now my work is cleaner, less graphic violence, less bad language, less sex. And originally, my audience said, "Well, what's the point? Why would we bother read something like that?" And I said, you wait. I can do this. I can write a book that has no sex, no bad words, no really bad violence, and you're going to love it. And it turned out I was right. A lot of people tell me they read that book in one sitting. And it was my 10th book. And I wrote that a long time ago. And I had originally planned for it to just be a one-off, like The Matrix should have been. Like a lot of books and movies, if they just left it at one story and didn't ruin it with sequels that weren't as good. Sorry, Matrix people.
I agree with
it
you.
Would have been good. Thank you. It would have been great if they just left it as it was. And I always promised I would just leave it like that. There are all these possibilities for other stories, and I'm not going to bother writing them because I don't want to ruin it. And then, what was it, 13 years later, a story jumped fully grown into my head, and I could not write it down fast enough. And it's the sequel to that book. And it takes place over 3 days, January 4th, 5th, and 6th of 2021. It takes place, 1/3 of it takes place in Antigua, Guatemala, where I live, 1/3 of it in Vienna, and 1/3 in Washington, D.C., at the Capitol building.
And the titles of that book?
Sorry?
The titles of those 2 books?
The Prince of Foxes, and the sequel is The Factory of Lies. Now,
isn't that based on the character Guy Fawkes you created?
Yes. Yeah. Since I had originally written that first book, Prince of Foxes, thank you for noticing that, for knowing that. It was just supposed to be a children's book for 5 kids. but it actually became very, very popular. I'm very pleased to say. And so I wanted to have a character named Guy Fawkes, but a misspelling of the original Guy Fawkes, who made those famous masks, who made the masks famous, rather. And he is a disavowed CIA spook. He was recruited to the CIA while in university, and originally he was all gung-ho about the idea. I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be great. I would love to do this. You know, make the world safe for democracy. And what? Oh, we do what? Oh, we're responsible for the civil war in Guatemala. Oh, we're responsible for the civil war in Syria. Oh, we did the destabilization of many countries all over the world. Oh, well, I didn't sign up for that. And but he can't quit. You can't just quit the CIA. And so he manages to escape. He arranges to be fired and then disappears. And because now he has all of these skills that aren't really useful in the job market, he sustains himself by high-profile art heists. He becomes an art thief, and that way I can also talk about one of my other great passions, art. I am a neoclassical painter trying to be a pre-Raphaelite, but damn, it's hard. And that's the whole point, really. And that way I get to talk about it. Sorry?
No, that's fine. By the way, I'm Bruce Wayne. Nice to meet you, Alex.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you too.
I want to say the photos that we were showing in the intro, I didn't get to see until this evening. And I saw you were working on a painting that looked like Samson pushing out the pillars.
I didn't get to see the intro. I apologize. I had a problem with my internet, but I look forward to seeing it later. Yes, I did paint one of Samson pushing down the columns in the Temple of Dagon. I can send you a picture of it if you like. It's massive.
I would love to.
I forget how many feet tall it is.
I'm a huge fan of Samson as a biblical character. Also, Archangel Michael, two of my favorite biblical characters.
Terrific. Did you see the movie that they made with Victor Mature and Hedy Lamarr of Samson?
No,
I had not.
It made it in 1949. I've got a copy of it. One of my favorite movies of all time. Actually, that movie got me out of class 2 days in a row because I had to go off and talk to Sister Pat to explain death to me, because watching Samson die really messed me up. I was like 6 or 7. And also seeing Hedy Lamarr die, I was hopelessly in love with her. I still am hopelessly in love with Hedy Lamarr.
Not a bad looking woman to be in love with.
Mm-hmm. So when I get my time machine sorted out, I'm going to go back and meet her. I'm probably going to have to bone up on science because she was a bit of a genius too. She might not be that impressed with what I have to offer conversation-wise. Anyway, moving along.
Yeah, but if you designed and were able to use a time machine, maybe that would be impressive enough.
I got a couple bugs to work out.
Okay, well, let us know when that happens. Hey, so it sounds like you are writing fiction, but it is very, very based in reality.
Yes. What I like to do mostly is write exposés of different horrors that are going on right under our noses. For example, the reason I came to Guatemala in the first place was to investigate human trafficking and illegal immigration, and what's causing it, and what are the cottage industries that have sprung from it, like baby sales, organ harvesting, human trafficking. So I've got one romance adventure book that talks about the bug chasers and the gift givers, which is I found out about this over 20 years ago, and I'm so surprised that hardly anybody else I talk to seems to have heard of them. And it's very, very important. If you're sexually active, you need to know about these people. And this movement is so strong. They've got magazines, for God's sakes, called Pause. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not.
Well,
Neither have I.
I'm all of a sudden very uncomfortable talking about it because, like I said, I'm at the restaurant and people I don't know have come up here onto the terrace with me. And their mood might be affected by hearing about them. He said cleverly, trying to convince them to go downstairs. More people are coming up.
I
so
I think this is the most interesting creative chaos to date.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay,
And
well,
we can always come back. We can always come back to that aspect of it if you want to just step over that for now.
Yeah, we can definitely come back if we need to, like, you know, be
As
a
long
little
as you've
mellow
got-
for the moment.
As long as
And
you've
if
got
you-
2 hours, so do we.
And if you want to read about them, the book is called Thy Neighbor's Wife. It's part of a trilogy called Icarus, but all of the books are written out of order. It's like Pulp Fiction, and you can come in at any point. Okay. Next question, please.
In regards to Icarus, the story arc, my question to you is, could you pick up book 3, book 2, book 1 at intervals and then just read them indiscriminately? Or do you have to read them 1, 2, and 3 to get the full picture?
People pick them up out of order all the time. They do that with several of my series. So I have 23 books out, right?
Yes.
And several of them are series. There's one of them. It's called Memoirs of a Swine. And it's my thinly disguised autobiography. And a lot of people start with volume 2. I had one flight attendant, for example, came into the restaurant and said, "Hey, listen, I'm going on a long flight and I need a book. They say you're an author. What do you recommend?" And I started telling her about all the books. Oh, hush. Do you hear that?
I did not. Your sound is pretty good for kind of off the cuff.
Okay, thanks. Well, I ate beans earlier and there was a very funny sound. So, no, it was a goofy sounding siren that went off.
Okay.
So, where was I? Oh yeah. So, this flight attendant came in, chose Memoirs of a Swine Volume 2, and she said, and she also wrote it in her Amazon review, that she wrote it cover to cover in the terminal waiting for the flight to arrive and was furious that she had nothing to read on the plane. So she got on Amazon and ordered books 1 and 3, had them sent to their destination, and they arrived before she did. It was very flattering.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sorry, Alexander. I just want to have you just rant and talk. I have no questions for you.
I can do that.
I can fill in with questions if you'd like, but please continue.
Yeah. What? No. Okay. You know what? Why don't you tell us about you? You just mentioned that she gave you a very flattering review. Do you have any others that kind of stick out in your head where you've been flattered?
Well, all of my reviews have been 5-star except for one. And so they've all been very, very flattering. The new book that just came out, it's my shortest book. And at first I was embarrassed by that, but then I realized, why do I need to stretch it out with filler? This is how long the story is.
Yeah, you're not J.K. Rowling.
No. And so it's 100 measly pages. And this book, it may not be my best book, but I felt led to write it. I felt, if you believe in God, or if you want to say the universe or the fates, whatever. I was told to write this. This book sprang fully grown into my head, like Factory of Lies. And while I knew that the story would be very divisive, people would either give it 5 stars or 1. And so far it has 2 reviews, and that's what they are, 5 and 1. The 5-star review is very long and eloquent and very, very flattering. And the 1 star, they didn't even write a word, just global rating, 1 star. Like I knew I would. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose some friends on this book, but it's a story that needed to be told. And it is 1984 for the 2020s.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what was the title of that one?
The Sunnyvale Firing Squad.
Okay, so I would say for people that aren't big readers and want something shorter, that might be the one that they'd want to choose.
Yes, a lot of my books are 340 pages long. This one's 100. It's very short, very short and to the point, very, very controversial. Like I said, I'm going to make a lot of enemies with this, but I feel like it was necessary. If this book doesn't get me canceled, I don't know what will. So it's...
Well, you know, with what we're doing with Flip City Magazine, our kind of temperature of we'll know we truly made it is when we land on the ADL or SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center watch lists. Yeah. So that can be kind of your temperature test too. You've really made it when you landed on those.
I wonder which of my friends are going to betray me to them. Well, so this book is about, imagine the communist takeover of the United States has already happened like 3-4 months ago. And this is small town America trying to adjust to it. Okay. And the Boy Scouts have been pressed into service by the new regime, and they're being forced to act as the Hitler Youth.
Okay.
And while they don't want to, they are forced to compete with one another in an emperor's new clothes type of facade of fanaticism, where while nobody really agrees with what they're doing, they can't let on and they can't admit even to each other that they don't agree with what they're doing. And there are 5 boys. They've been friends since birth, and now they're the firing squad of this small town. And they don't mind so much when they're getting revenge on their middle school principal or somebody they don't like. You know, when they're when they're settling old scores, that doesn't matter. But whenever they have to kill someone that they love, that's where the problems start. Where they have to keep their poker face on because they know that their leaders are watching them like a hawk to make sure they don't betray any sign of emotion. And the story begins when our hero has to shoot someone he really doesn't want to.
Okay. Now, with just this story that we're talking about, when I go back to your bio, you know, you have a lot of themes revolving around Pizzagate, polyamory, gender issues, transphobia, all of that. Is this stuff that is woven through each one of your books, or you choose certain topics
that
you focus on?
Almost all of my books talk about one or more of these issues, hot topic issues. And not necessarily because I'm looking for trouble. In fact, there were times when I was going through my Garden of Gethsemane moment and thinking, should I do this? Because at the moment I have a good life. I really don't deserve it. There'll be people that come out of the woodwork to tell you how little I deserve to have a good life, but I'm graced with one, thank God. and I could really mess it all up by publishing this book. And I pray, God, could I just live my life without publishing this? And the clouds did not part and shine a sunbeam down on me. I didn't hear a loud booming voice, but I did hear distinctly, yeah, you can be a coward for your entire life if you want. Like, oh, okay, all right, Roger that.
Yes, sir.
And then I click send, and we'll see what happens. You know, enough things have happened to show me that I am a guest on this planet. I've had my second, third, and 12th chance at life, and this time I'm really making it count. I'm really giving something back.
Yeah, that's excellent, because I think that segues pretty perfectly into our next segment. But before we do that, I just want to give some shout outs to people that are watching our stream. Our kind of mutual friend from over on the Woo's News chat and Telegram, great hater over on YouTube. Thank you for popping in. You've been such a good supporter of Creative Chaos stream. And we've got Trench Mouth over on Rumble. I think that's the first time anybody has come and said what is up on Rumble, so that feels good, man. 451 Actual, my buddy over there on Pilled, Agent Feisty Mango, Spazzo Yeti, Bruce, there you are. And I know Warrior in the Garden checked in earlier today, so thank you guys all for checking in over on Pilled. And Alexander, just to let, or Alex, do you prefer Alex or Alexander?
I prefer Zoltar the Magnificent, but Alex is fine.
That is way too many syllables for me, so that's not going to happen. But I just want to let you know that the Pill.net platform, as far as video streaming goes, they are, in my opinion, the most uncensored network that you can find out there. I don't know if you ever care to stream or anything like that, but if you do, I would suggest Pill.net. And there's a free plug for you guys. All right.
I would also like to just add something real quick, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Alex, I happen to be dyslexic as well as ADD. And if you were to allow your books to either be on an Audibles platform, or as you've been doing on your Facebook page when you're reading segments, find a way to put your books on audio so that people like myself could listen to them while we're on planes or while we're driving or anything like their such of.
Sarah, I've been asked by many people to do that, and I've looked into it. The expense of it is a little out of my budget. I did try during the first couple weeks of the quarantine, back when I believed in it. Okay, I'm going to use this opportunity to put my books on tape, and I've got so much respect for narrators now, because, man, it's hard.
Well, I'll tell you, the excerpts that you read on camera, they're fantastic. I don't know how many takes you take to do those. No, they're great.
I've had to do a bunch lately because we've had a lot of helicopters flying over us. Like, I'll come up here in mid-afternoon after the lunch rush and before the dinner people come in, and I sit down and I get ready and I start, and I'm in the middle of it, and all of a sudden a freaking helicopter goes over, and I'm like, start it over again. And is that another helicopter? No. It's this. Yes, it is. There's two. And then like 5 helicopters are coming and going.
Well, gee, I guess Creative Chaos is blessed, because it's been 30 minutes and I haven't heard one.
Mm-hmm. Just you wait. And if it's not a helicopter, it's one of those really charming, sexy guys revving the engine of his motorcycle. Oh my God, the respect I have for them. Anyway.
Well, yes.
Oh, was there subtext in that? I didn't mean to.
So I think it's time for us to just mosey on into one of our first segments. We're going to go ahead and do mansplain.
Okay.
All right. So in mansplain, you, and believe me, you don't seem like this, but if you want to be misogynistic or anything like that, feel free. So in your bio, you state you went from zero to hero along with all kinds of other cool stuff. And I'm looking to do that for myself. Now, me being a woman means I'm inherently lazy. So I don't really like the part where it took you like a lot of hard work and dedication. So can you explain to me how I can become a hero without the hard work?
Absolutely. I actually figured out a way to do it. You have to hijack your subconscious. And shameless plug, I wrote about it in my one nonfiction book called The Hero Mindset. I wrote a self-help book called The Hero Mindset. And I discovered an awful lot in my early post-coma days about the subconscious mind. We can circle back to the post-coma days when I died and was brought back.
That's going to be part of our next segment.
Okay. Foreshadowing. So I discovered, because I have tinnitus, I would listen to music or white noise or books on tape to help me fall asleep. And for a very long time when I was a kid, I was listening not to the classics or anything useful at all, but fairy tales. I was listening to Cinderella and all these silly stories. And I programmed my subconscious mind to believe in Deus Ex Machina. It took me like 30 years to realize this, but I was always like rather lazy for a very long time. Now people think that's a big surprise considering all the things I do these days. I'm very productive. But because I listened to Aladdin a bunch of times or stories about fairy godmothers are genies. I always believed that a fairy godmother or a genie or God would step in my moment of need to come through for me. And I didn't actually have to do anything to make it happen. I just needed to have faith. And that's the short road to nowhere. All right, hold on just a second. I got to say goodbye. Thank you for coming. Everything all right? Thank you. It's great to see you again. Have a good night.
Always a professional.
Yeah, sorry about that. And the way I found out about this is I also started listening to comedy to fall asleep. Now, that doesn't make much sense, but the first time you listen to a comedy album, you laugh at the jokes if they're funny. The second time, the third time, why would you? You've already heard them. They're not funny anymore. They're boring. And it's the easiest thing in the world to fall asleep to jokes you've already heard. So I was listening to Eddie Izzard, of all people.
Okay.
And for years, I fell asleep to his album, The Definite Article. And I found myself during the day cracking goofy jokes in a faux British accent and acting very flamboyant, which is odd because, before then I was one of those double Y chromosome assholes. Like very, very macho. And all of a sudden I'm acting, well, for lack of a better word, gay. And why the hell was this? And then I realized that just like as a child, I had programmed my subconscious to imitate a British drag queen. Not drag queen, I'm sorry, transvestite. And
which people who don't know Eddie Izzard, was his shtick. And he did a very sardonic TV show, I guess, or a cable show called The Riches. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't get a chance to.
It was based on some of his jokes that he then turned into a story arc. He was one of the writers as well. And it was very well done. Unfortunately, I think it only lasted like 3 or 4 seasons, and it was very well done. And
Thanks
so
for telling
I've
me. I'll look it up.
yeah, I've known Eddie Izzard for quite some time, and he's not one of the more popular comedians here in the States, but
Not so much.
He is very funny.
Yeah, I discovered him when I was living in Ireland a long time ago, and I think he's my favorite Disney princess. So when I realized that listening to Eddie Izzard was the reason that I was acting flamboyant and cracking jokes in a fake British accent, it made me realize that a lot of my problems in life stemmed from childhood, programming my subconscious while I slept by books on tape of fairy tales on repeat. And that made me think, what can I do to reverse this? And so I got into self-hypnosis to make it easier for myself to fall asleep, and then looping Stoic quotations from Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, people like that. Now, I used to have a really bad temper, and nowadays I'm very, very slow to anger. Like, even when something goes terribly wrong here in the restaurant, and oh my God, my reputation, my precious reputation is on the line, and I'm very calm and collected and responding with solutions. And it doesn't even occur to me that I should have gotten angry until later. I go, oh yeah, that's right. I probably should have yelled a bit and said some bad words. No, it doesn't occur to me at all. Here's something.
You haven't watched enough Gordon Ramsay, I guess.
I guess not. But as the chef of this restaurant, I completely understand Gordon Ramsay and his mentor, Marco Pierre White. For a long time, I was one of those enfant terrible chefs, chefs that just scream and yell and have temper tantrums and embarrass the restaurant. But now I don't anymore. Something else, because of that Deus Ex Machina problem that I had, where I would assume somebody else would do things for me. My wife is an architect, and she has her own construction company of 80-odd men, and she's very talented, by the way. I have an exotic ice cream shop around the corner from my restaurant with 153 flavors, and the step is stone, and it's been worn down from 300 some odd years of people stepping on it. And I always thought, wow, people would slip, they'd step on it and slip and fall. And sometimes it's women in high heels, and they'll fall and drop on their artificially inflated bottoms and drop the ice cream they just bought. And oh my God, that's terrible. I feel so bad. Somebody should do something.
Okay.
And I would mention it to my wife that maybe if somebody got a piece of wood and brought it and held it up against this step and filled in the rest of it with concrete, they could take it away, and then we would have a good step again. And she's going, you don't really know much about building, do you? But this is a stone step, and stone does not bind to concrete. Okay, well, something should be done. And she would go, yeah.
So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Wife?
Yeah. But she was being subtle. And subtlety didn't reach with me. Can you tell? Can you tell by looking at me that I'm not a subtle man? So, for years, I would complain that we needed a step. Somebody should do something. She should send her stonemasons or her carpenters over to fix the freaking thing. And she never did. The first night. Actually, if you guys are not in a hurry, I might like you to hear this part because it's really inspiring.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, there's some people that are sitting over here.
Oh yeah, they can hear.
So what I did, unless you're in a hurry.
They can come say hello even if they wanted.
Huh?
They can pop in and say hello.
They absolutely can't. I forbid it.
This is Alex's show.
Yes. So I found this guy, what's his name? Seeley, Mark Seeley, John Seeley. All of a sudden, I can't remember his first name. But Seeley, Sealey. He's an Australian, and he does really great self-hypnosis on YouTube. Definitely look him up. So there are a bunch of people that do self-hypnosis on YouTube to help you fall asleep. And he's Michael Seeley.
Okay.
And he's really great. What I like about him is his voice lulls me to sleep, and then he says good things while you're asleep that help you reprogram yourselves. Now, there are a lot of people that I've tried, other people, and that I don't like at all, and they have voices that are really sleazy and slimy, and listening to them makes me feel like my ears being raped by a squid. And I just visual
Vivid.
the back of your neck. Ugh. You know? But Michael Seeley's great. Anyway, I listened to his video on productivity, and the very next morning, my eyes popped open and I was overcome with this fear of death in a good way. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to freaking die one day. My life is finite and I'm wasting it just minute by minute, strolling, looking at my stupid phone, wasting my life. I need to take action. And I was overcome with this horrible feeling that I must get out of bed, get dressed, and run to the hardware store. And I bought 2 planks of wood, some nails, and I blew the dust off of my tool set. And I went to the restaurant and I built a freaking step. I did that all in the morning. Like, I had just enough time to drink coffee so that my wife wouldn't yell at me that I'd run out the door without giving her hers. And straight to the hardware store. And I could not freaking rest until this step was done. Now, how is it that just me on my lonesome, I'd let years go by without making this freaking step, like waiting for somebody else to do it? But I only had to listen to this productivity video once while I was asleep. So you want to know how to hijack your subconscious mind to go from zero to hero without actually putting in work? You can do this literally overnight.
Okay, Michael Seeley on YouTube.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Now,
okay, I have written that down. Terrific.
Yeah. So, because I'm very specific about the things that I want to program myself to do, I have gotten on the computer and read in a quiet voice. You got to do it in a deep register so that you don't wake yourself up. But I am slow to anger. Stuff like that. Write down what you want to say it into your microphone, loop it for 8 hours, and at the end of that 8-hour video, or recording rather, wake yourself up. Now, for many, many years, I had gotten by on 4 to 5, no, not even 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And yeah, while I was still being very productive, I wasn't doing as much as I could have. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm done with that part. You got the gist of it.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay if you'd like to, but the rest of it's just gonna be, I'm gonna repeat myself. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna repeat myself.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. How was everything? All right?
It was amazing.
Thank you.
It was like the best exotic ice cream I've ever had in my life.
Oh.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Exotic ice cream. You know,
Yeah.
you're very much making me want to come visit your restaurant in Guatemala.
You'd be more than welcome. All right. So quick segue. What is exotic ice cream? We have 153 flavors. We got flavors like coffee maple bacon, tobacco with Turkish figs macerated in Zacapa, a Guatemalan rum, tequila, caramelized white chocolate, macadamia. We serve dishes in the restaurant that have ice cream on them, like our caprese salad, fresh mozzarella, fresh tomatoes, but also tomatoes confit. Those are tomatoes roasted slowly in very low heat for 6 hours in olive oil and herbs, a zigzag of balsamic reduction, and a scoop of basil ice cream. We
Oh
got,
my God. That sounds amazing.
I'm very
That's
proud
like
of it.
crazy.
And
We've
are
got,
you the one that invented these flavors, or do you have
yeah.
help?
I invented almost all of them. My wife chimed in with a few really great ones like poppy seed, almond, caramelized orange peel, blueberry, lavender, caramelized lime peel. A bunch, actually. What's your favorite flavor of normal ice cream?
Me personally, gosh, chocolate.
All right, so we've got chocolate balsamic reduction, chocolate wasabi ginger, let's see, chocolate and hazelnut, chocolate and peanut butter, chocolate peanut butter hazelnut, chocolate with roasted strawberries. Jesus, we got a bunch of chocolates. We got like 12 chocolates.
I'm sure.
Chocolate creme brulee.
I did just want to say real quick that the link to find Alex, that does also lead to your restaurant. So anybody that's going to be in Guatemala, please, you can find Alex's restaurant through that link as well.
Thank you. Yes, I combined my personal website that has the books and the paintings with the restaurant. And so you can find the restaurant at either sobremesagt.com. Sobremesa is the name of the restaurant. It does not translate literally into English. It's the time you spend at the table after you finished eating, which is a time very important in Latin culture, which includes Italian and French, the original Latins.
I can understand why that doesn't translate into English, though. That is that's not a cultural thing. They want, our culture is get off your fat ass after eating that, soybean oil burger and get out of here.
Mm-hmm. So our policy is, unless we're packed and we need your table, we're not going to bring you the check until you ask for it. And it's funny about people from the States that just sit there with their hands in their pockets and wait and get impatient but never say anything. People from Latin cultures will just sit there and laugh and carry on and talk and go, hey, you know what? Can I get another coffee and another one of those exotic ice creams, please? And a little cake, one of those raspberry tarts. Yeah, thank you.
Sounds wonderful. It really
does. And they'll just enjoy one another's company at the table. They will be in sobremesa for hours. And sometimes people have come for lunch and just stayed and had another drink, had another coffee, and then noticed when the place starts getting flooded with people, oh my God, we've been here for 5 hours. Do you want to? Yeah. Can we get the menu? And then they ordered dinner. Nice. So that's what our name means. Sobremesa.
Okay.
Sobremesa GT for Guatemala. That's how you find the restaurant, but you can also find it by alexferrar.com. That's FERRAR.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Alex, I really do want to get into our next segment because we're going to go back to your near-death experience, and I'm super excited to hear about that. And I think I know now, you mansplained very eloquently how I can remain lazy, listen to things in my sleep, but then just kind of not be lazy and do a bunch of shit.
Yes. I meant to finish off with, if you loop whatever you want to teach yourself, try to avoid negative words like I don't, I will not, I never, and use positive phrases, because the mind can't seem to catch I don't. Like, I don't want to smoke. It will hear I want to smoke. Say, I hate cigarettes. I quit cigarettes. Not I don't want to smoke anymore. Anyway, if you loop it for 8 hours and then say, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to attack the day at the count of 3. And then you wake up. This way, I have managed to ensure that I actually get 8 hours of sleep, which I almost never did before. So we can move on.
So you're doing all of this and still sleeping 8 hours a night. That is freaking amazing. But let's go ahead and segue into our next segment, Cos. I think Cosmic fell asleep.
No, I'm still here.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding with you. I mean,
are we going to conspiracy?
Yes, please.
Terrific.
I wanna live with a conspiracy girl. I could be prepping the rest of my life with a conspiracy girl.
Those weren't even.
All right, Alex. So I have got my super handy dandy tinfoil hat on and ready to listen.
Mine.
Oh, damn you. Well, that's okay. That is okay. I think I've got a big enough one here for all of us. We are under a whole protective umbrella. So just kind going through your bio and everything that you went through, I definitely want to know about your near-death experience because I'm kind of obsessed with those kinds of stories. And I think maybe Conspiracy Corner is a good place to start. Look at this. The man is signing a book right in front of us.
Because the ice cream was so good.
This is absolutely not planned.
No, it's not. The server pretended to sign it. So.
We are in the presence of a celebrity, everybody.
Oh,
I feel very inspired.
Can you please tell them, tell one of the waiters to bring up my helmet?
Yes.
The word is Yelmo. Thank you.
Yelmo.
Or Casco.
Okay.
Yelmo or Casco. It's all right. It's my Spanish. It's a Comorian, my Spanish helmet.
Okay.
It's my it's my.
I can't wait.
It's my tinfoil hat.
Okay. I cannot wait to see what comes back.
All right. I apologize for not writing a very long personalized.
I forgive you. I feel like this was all so personal. So
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Have a great night. Take care.
Well, Alex, may I ask, was that the person behind your camera listening to your mansplaining? Yes. Oh, yes. Fantastic. So you got to mansplain to more than one woman tonight.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Hey, we are having fireworks. I love this town.
Okay, this is a magical stream.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah,
I love that I live
fireworks.
Here. We have fireworks all the time in Antigua.
And you know what? You had mentioned, the reason you went to Guatemala. I forget. Did you say when you went down there and you've never left? Is that what happened?
16 years ago. I came here for 3 months 16 years ago to investigate illegal immigration because I didn't really know about it. I was a parrot mimicking other parrots. I'd hear people say what they thought, what they had heard immigration was all about, what the reasons were, and I wanted to come down and find out for myself. And I had found out about human trafficking in 2003. Can you hear me all right with all the fireworks behind me?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, great. In 2003, I'd found out about that slavery was alive and well in the world, and UNESCO estimated 28 million slaves in the world today. And I was in Florida at that time, and I found out about almost 2,000 slaves that had been rescued and released in Central Florida, Immokalee. Right next, they're living on an orange plantation right next to a golf resort, and they were set free, and the Ramos crime family went to prison. And I was so amazed by this that I had to find out more. And I found out that slavery never really ended. Slavery was actually outlawed during the Civil War, but has been going on right underneath everybody's nose ever since. And I don't want to talk too much about that. I'm glad that that movie Sound of Freedom came out to take up a bit of the slack. I've written more than a few books about slavery and how people fall into it. Like even suburban chicks with the potential for a very happy life are falling into slavery by getting lured in with pornography, the strongest internet industry. I mean, yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. Sorry.
Well,
I
I'm
came
sure it'd
here-
be an entire show.
It is.
5 at least.
It is.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I wrote about that in the Icarus series, like Thy Neighbor's Wife, In Shining Armor, and A Mind Diseased. That is a trilogy of steamy crime thrillers that are adventure, romance, slavery. What I like to do is talk about these hot topic issues in the guise of fiction by putting characters in these situations so that you feel them more than if you just read about them in a depressing nonfiction book.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to comment real quick, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
I found that just reading the overview of each of your books, you're very surrealistic in terms of the modern culture and what's going on today, and that you put that in your books. And I find that intriguing because being autistic, an autist, if you will, being dyslexic and having ADD, that when I see something that really grabs my attention, I zone in on it. And your captions about your books really caught my attention, and I can't wait to start reading them. Hopefully, you'll be able to put them on audio soon, that I'll be able to listen to them all without having problems trying to sit here and read a book.
Okay. I'll definitely try.
Thank you.
No. Hold on.
No
Hold on.
promises.
Did I really just say that? Did I really just say that? Because I freaking hate when people say that. I'll try to be there. No, you won't. Like, that's your way of saying, no, you're not. I'm not going.
No, this is my suggestion. Bruce, you need to record. You will, in a deep voice, you will make audio recordings of all your books. Repeat
How
that for
about
8 hours. Send it to
will
Alex.
do it. I am going to do it. I will do it now. Now, I wrote not all of the books. Some of the books are more literature, but definitely the first person narratives are written in an easy to read style of speech. I try to give each narrator his own voice. I'm not going to say this is my first book. It was my first book that wasn't awful. I wrote my first book when I was 5, and it was crap. My mother would disagree, but you know, she's my mom. I wrote, I don't know, maybe 5 books and 2 screenplays between the ages of 5 and 23 that were either derivative or outright plagiarism. And they were just crap, absolute crap. But I feel I'm in agreement with Malcolm Gladwell about those 10,000 hours of practice, that when I was 23, I finally wrote my first good book. And it was a first-person narrative, and the narrator was a woman, a stripper, who moonlights as a narc. Wears a wire, because if you hold on, I'm about to go off on another tangent. I'll stop. But she has a very specific speech pattern. The book that came in, the sequel to that, is an 18-year-old high school dropout in South Florida working in a Brazilian drug ring. He has his own voice. Everybody has their own voice. And I've found that a lot of people who don't read much find them very easy to read because they hear the voice in their head and they just breeze through it. That might help.
And that series is called?
Heresy.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and those can be
So
found on what
On
platform?
Amazon. They're fine. Look me up on Amazon. The Heresy series is Friends Like These, By the Sword, The Kettle Black, After the Flesh, and The Camel's Back. And I also did the same thing with Memoirs of a Swine. That's written in a certain dialect, and it's very easy to read too. A lot of people say it's a lot of fun, especially if they already know me, because they hear my voice telling the story. So that might be easy, but I will also start doing audiobooks. I've committed myself to it now, and so I have to.
I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you. I mean, in another lifetime, I think you and I would get along famously. My girlfriend is an international artist from Peru, and I'll be heading over there to be with her middle of March for about 3 weeks. And she's a looming artist, third generation. She's Inca Indian, and
Wow.
it's doesn't seem like it's a far hop from Peru to Guatemala.
Not too far. No. Peru's a very
So
beautiful place. You're going to love it.
I've been there before, but with my ex and my kids at one point. So this is going to be
Never
my first
mind.
adventure alone, solo.
Okay. And if you stop by Guatemala, this is an absolutely gorgeous place. Like, people are always asking me, like, wait a minute, you're from the Bahamas and you came here? Yeah, it's gorgeous here. It is an amazingly beautiful country. Right. So anyway, go on. You were asking me something and I was going off on tangents.
So we were talking about your books and your series and the audio aspect of it to put them on audio. And then Christy Mack, our leader here, was in the middle of something. So go ahead, Christy.
yeah, we really tangented, I think, probably 5 times since coming on into Conspiracy Corner, which has not been very conspiratorial yet. But
just you wait.
His books are.
Well, no, that is true. And every time any of the different series are talked about, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to read that, and I'm gonna have to read all that. And so I am happy to hear that they're real page turners, even for people that don't read a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Conspiracy stuff. I wrote a book that talked about COVID, about I didn't use the word pandemic because I didn't know that word, but an epidemic of worldwide proportions that would have flu-like symptoms. It would have a vaccine that billionaire and philanthropist Gil Bates would be the champion of this vaccine, and it would cause sterility. I wrote that book in 2018.
Did you really? And you really did Gil Bates, but you're tuned in, I'm sure.
I also published another book, The Hero Mindset, which that young lady just bought. And it came out 1 month, and it talks about Jeffrey Epstein, and it came out 1 month before his arrest. Wow. I wrote a book in 2005 about the United States' first black president. His name was Henry Tucker, not Barack Obama. I didn't know the name Barack Obama. I'd never heard of him before. But in 2005, I wrote that the U.S. would have their first black president, and the news media would amp up racial tension, fan the fires of popular rage in order to cause a racially motivated civil war in the United States, and cities would burn. Mm-hmm. And everyone that read it said, oh, so this is a fantasy novel then, because the U.S. will never have a black president. I said, oh, yes, it will. No. No, it won't. This is science fiction. The U.S. will have a black president, and soon. And we did, just 3 years later. And I had to unpublish the book because people said that I had written that in a very thinly veiled criticism of Barack Obama. But I insist I'd never heard of him. I was pressured into unpublishing that book for 8 years. And I republished it with a lot of changes in the Trump era.
Is
Okay,
there
so
a
it
way
is
to,
available.
They are available.
is there a way
So
to
that's
get
what
an original? I'm sorry. Is there a way to get an original copy of the first volume, the original volume?
I have. All right, that book and its predecessor, Heresy Number 4, are not my best books. I felt like Sunnyvale Firing Squad. I felt very called to write them. And I go ahead and tell you, if there are copies of the original versions of those two books running around out there, please burn them. So those were my first 5 books, and the first 3 were good, and 4 and 5 were not. I was under the misconception that the books had to be progressively disturbing. They had to be more and more horrific for me to get my point across, because I was mostly writing at the time. I wrote those 5 books in prison.
Okay.
And if you think you've got ADD and you think you're dyslexic, just you wait till you're trying to hold the interest of the criminal element. So I felt that the books had to be more and more disturbing to keep these people interested. And then later I published them, and somebody came along and picked up book number 4, flipped to a random page and said, well, I don't need to read that. In fact, I will not eat in this restaurant. I found this out like months later that he'd said this. I will never eat in the restaurant of the kind of person who would write this book. I go, really? Oh, wow, that's pretty strong words. I wonder what he looked at. And I picked up the book, flipped to a random page and went, whoa, oh my God, I wrote this? Holy shit. So I unpublished it, number 4 and 5, and left them unpublished for many years, and just prayed that whoever got their hands on them threw them away.
Okay, I'm going to stop you because this is getting crazy, because
Yeah, my bad.
I didn't know you were in prison or anything like that. And I'm still super curious about
Surprise.
your near death experience, which may tie into this prison thing. I'm not sure. So can we go way back before all this writing and all that? Near-death experience? What happened?
My death experience was I got killed in prison. I don't recommend that. So 21 years ago, I woke up in a hospital with amnesia. I had no idea who I was, or where I was, or how I'd gotten there, or why I was handcuffed to the bed, and no one would tell me. And for a long time, I lay in this bed and wearing my big paper napkin and watching Powerpuff Girls on TV and James Bond marathon. And I don't know how long I'd been asleep or how long I was semi-vegetable in this bed. No one told me anything at all until finally, when I could walk and string together a coherent sentence, I was asked to speak to a gentleman, and he was asking me questions, and I was just happy to be out of the bed and talking to somebody and like, hi, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, that's great. Like, so do you know why you're here? And like, nope. And he told me that someone had tried to kill me and damn near succeeded. And he asked for my testimony. And who? And he told me who it was. And I'm like, wait, him? And I knew that name. I go, but why? He's my friend, not my friend, but my good acquaintance. I wouldn't really call him a friend. He was a gorilla. He was this 7 foot tall man with, those mentally underdeveloped people that have multiple rows of teeth. And I'd always been nice to him. He would come over and say, like, he'd been a crackhead, and when he was out in the world, and he had a daughter. And he would ask me to draw her a rose. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I remember, oh yeah, that means I'm an artist, aren't I? And I would try to draw, and I couldn't. I would try to write something down, and I felt like I'm a writer. I like to write, don't I? And I would try to write, and I would lose my train of thought. Well, I'll just pick up where I left off. I'll just read what I've already written and find my train of thought. And I'd go to read, and it's just gibberish. A lot of it wasn't even words. They were just squiggles. I was horrified. I'm like, who am I? And little by little, memories started coming back. After I was told that I was a prisoner, and if I survived this stint in the hospital, I had 4 more years of prison to look forward to. And I'd already had 1 down. And that 1 year damn near killed me. So, that was hellish.
Yeah.
And so I was lying in bed and cursing God for letting this happen to me. And days went by, and I had blood clots in my brain. And the doctors were telling me that they were waiting and observing me to see if I had a stroke. And if I did, then they would be able to help me rehabilitate from it. But there was no way that they could prevent it. Just help me rehabilitate if it happened. Oh, fuck. God, how could you let this happen to me? And one day, it occurred to me that God's in charge. Who the hell am I to shake my fist at him? And what do I hope to gain by telling him to fuck off? And I thought, no, whatever I did to end up in this situation, I probably deserved it. Now, I don't want to be one of those assholes that, bargains with God, that has that audacity to tell God, if you make me better, I'll do this for you. No. Instead, I just said, I am deeply, deeply sorry for whatever I did. I must have been a horrible person. And I was. My memory came back little by little. But God, I'm not going to ask you to make me better. I'm just asking you to forgive me. And I ask you to forgive me in the name of Jesus Christ, because I recall that being the thing you do. I invite Jesus into my heart and ask you to just have mercy. And if you don't, do with me whatever you see fit. Whatever you choose to do, I accept it willingly. The very next day, I had an MRI, and they said it was a miracle, but the blood clots had mysteriously dissolved, and they don't know where they went. But I know where they went because I see them every day. Now, everybody has floaters in their eyes, but I have black floaters that I can see all the time, and they are a constant reminder of where I was when my life and my memory began. I was pretty much born. I was literally born again in a hospital.
It sounds that way.
Over the next 7 months, I had my recovery, and then finally I was released into prison. Boy, that was fun. I was a stick figure. God, I was like a 95-pound stick figure in prison, and little by little, my memory came back, and it was like recollections of a half-remembered dream, or you know what I likened it to? Memories washing ashore of a movie watched whilst stoned. You ever,
Okay.
you know, I'd watch a movie while I was baked out of my gourd, and the next day think that I'd come up with this great story, and I'd start writing it, and then I'd pitch it to my friends who said, you know, there's a movie you might want to watch again. Oh, and then I watch it and go, son of a bitch, that's my idea. These people stole my idea, went back in time, and made it into a movie. It's genius. So, little by little, these memories are washing ashore, and I'm horrified of what an asshole I had been. What a narcissistic, self-centered prick. And I resolved with this second chance at life that I was going to dedicate myself to being the best possible version of myself. Like everything that I had always dreamed that I could be, I was going to become. I was going to be an author. I was going to dedicate myself seriously to art, as both of these things were much harder for me to do. Now, drawing used to come very, very naturally. Now it's hard. And so since it's hard, every painting I do has to be the best thing I've ever done. And I have to be progressively outdoing myself. I always imagined myself as a child when I was a grown-up being a restaurateur. It's funny, if I was with my brothers and neighbors in the Bahamas, we're playing at guns or swords, whatever. But if I was alone, I was playing at being a chef in the rock garden, preparing this gourmet meal with leaves from trees and arranging them on the plate, and then bringing them over to my imaginary plate and going, now, this is funny. Every time I imagine myself as a grown-up, as a waiter, delivering food to the table, I was black. I'm a black man with an apron and a beard going, here you go. Hope you like it. Enjoy. Bon appetit. Here you go. So anyway.
You didn't turn out to be black, though, did you?
I did not. But, so now here I am. I've got what many call, some don't, interests of full disclosure, some don't, but many call it the best restaurant, not just in the city, but the country. We're in the corner of Central Park in a destination hotspot, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, I think. It's a World Heritage Site. I absolutely love this place. It's home. It really is. And I have this restaurant where I get to cackle like a madman in my secret lab and rub my hands together like and mix stuff together and come up with these crazy dishes like sous vide chicken in a cream of jalapeno sauce with fried bananas and tomato chutney. I'm very, very proud of it. We got this pasta dish. The noodles are homemade spinach fettuccine with sous vide chicken hindquarters with avocado, roasted balsamic garlic tomato, confit garlic, and olives, and an herb sauce. I'm so proud of this dish. We come up with desserts like a piece of banana bread with a scoop of coconut milk, white chocolate, hazelnut ice cream on top of a caramelized banana and fried pineapple.
You're starting to anger me. You're starting to anger me. I'm very hungry.
I was about to tell
me
you the
too.
good part.
Nibbling earlier.
Covered in a dark rum jalapeno caramel.
Damn you!
I just had to get that last dig in. All right,
I gotta tell you,
know.
I gotta tell you, one of our listeners, Mo Tibber, is offering to come out and be one of your dishwashers just so he can taste your food.
You'd be more than welcome, Mo.
You heard that, Mo? If you're still listening, Mo, you've got a job offer.
Yeah, I saw a comment from Mo pop up earlier that was very complimentary of Alex. I'm not sure if you're watching the screen and seeing. I'm assuming you're on your phone.
I'm watching the screen, but I can't. All I can see are you and occasionally Mr. Wayne.
Yes.
I don't get to see any comments. Will I see them on YouTube?
You will see the one that Cosmic brought up during the live stream, but on YouTube, it seems like we only have great hater watching. We're streaming to 4 different platforms, so the chats are coming from everywhere. But
just send me links. Send me links and
I
I'll
will.
watch.
Well, actually, you have all the links. They're in our Telegram chat. So
never mind.
You can go back and check on those. I think now you're just so wonderful, Alex, because you took a really, really heavy story, but just kept it very, very humorous. Because I was going to say, well, let's lighten it up because we just talked about a near-death experience, but you kept it light. But regardless of that, it is time to move on to our Flip City branded segment. And I'm so excited for this. And we do not have a stinger for that. So if Cosmic, you can bring up the first slide for our branded segment. We are going to do Consumer Reports, Guide to the Best and Worst Suicide Machines, the quickest, the easiest, the coolest. And Alex, you are reading the first 2 slides that are coming up after this.
My pleasure.
Can you see it?
I see nothing.
Hey, Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to even tell you because you came in a little late. You're going to need to pin Cosmic Grandpa's little. Do you see? I don't know what you're seeing. I'm sure you can see me.
I see you.
You see me.
Okay, slide. Hold on one second. Just hear me out. Slide once to the right, Alec. Right to left. Slide once right to left. Do you see all of us now?
I do.
Okay, now the top picture that shows the cartoon image and the writing.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Tap that, double tap that, and it should double.
Success.
Why isn't that pinning? Okay, there you go.
You see it?
Now you can read from that.
Woohoo! Okay. Together. If you've got to go, why not take someone you love with you? That's the stroke of genius behind Schwanson's family-friendly Together model. The spacious capsule lobby offers room for 4 with AC, beverage holders, cushioned interior, and entertainment console, plus a 25-inch flat screen with streaming internet services. Rotating depositor system loads remains in a composting bin located on the underside, making this one of the most environmentally friendly models available on the market. After the compost cycle, the model can be rinsed out and reused for generations and comes with a 20-year warranty. The Together is garage storable and available for friends and relatives to jump in anytime. The Together is computer automatically forwards courtesy electronic parting messages to loved ones, reminding them how totally horrifying life on this planet really is. Perks. In the warm season, the Together doubles as a vegetable greenhouse. Termination method, slow drip potassium chloride IV ports and watching Disney Plus network. Change of mind. Together is equipped with multiple handheld emergency release controls. One drawback, all occupants must agree to abort.
Awesome. And that came with a rating of 3 out of 5 skulls. And I did, because you are such a smart guy, Alex, I did want to know, given that description of the Together model, would you rate that the same, higher, or lower?
I would give that 5 yellow skulls because that sounds like the future of the Indian practice of sati.
Well, I've got to tell you that I don't know what the Indian practice of sati is, But
Yeah, it was it was abolished a couple hundred years ago, but it's when a widow would be burned alive on the funeral pyre of her husband.
oh, okay, got it. And I'm sure it didn't, but she wasn't then composted.
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but that's why I think that this is the future of sati.
Got it. And I forgot to mention before we started this that when we published it, we got a lot of feedback from our Canadian readers that found the publication of these reviews to be extremely helpful. So we're very proud to have brought this to some of our readers. And Alex, if you're okay, I would love to see what the next suicide machine is and have you read this.
I'm glad you asked. It's the Chill Pod. This Costco exclusive relabeled import from Germany offers high quality at a low cost, a hallmark of Gherkin products. The Chill Pod is the choice model if you have a bummed out teen or young adult ready to pull the plug. Capsule features a cozy pillowed interior that also accommodates one small pet. Pod doubles as a photo booth, and designer earbuds help the departing check out to his or her choice of millions of tunes via Spotify Premium. The Chill Pod is mass-produced in an exciting range of interior and exterior style options. Choose from urban hip-hop, sad girl kitty, metalcore, or Marvel superheroes. Increasing your follower counts is critical in life or in the afterlife, so the Chill Pod offers web broadcast capability to stream the big event on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you've got to go, you can at least rack up some record likes and follows along the way. All broadcast monetization rights reserved by the Gherkin International Products Incorporated. Termination method, unbearable boredom. Power source. System runs on combined natural gas, electricity, and dashed hopes. Self-immolation cycle reduces pod to a pile of ashes in 90 minutes. Features, tinted privacy glass. Post-mortem makeup misting system conceals visible acne. Performance, the Chill Pod is slow to warm up and frequently sluggish. The unit emitted persistent error codes indicating that it hates us and we're ruining its life.
You know, I've got to say, I see that there's only 2 skulls on that rating, but you kind of sold me on it.
Unfortunately, it only has 2, but I believe there's room for improvement, and considering all of the pros, they definitely outweigh the cons.
Well, thank you very much for your report, Alex. I'd like to see a couple more of the slides here. Now, Flip City can't give everything away. You need to subscribe at flipcitymag.com to find out the review for the Sing Ling Songbird featured here.
I can't wait.
And the Allegro Achiever Series Master Class. So yes, you can, I just wanted to go one more slide, cause the article came with this handy dandy chart for ease of use and with the ratings listed on there. So if you want in the future, are very helpful tips and tricks to living your best life or not, you're going to want to go to flipcitymag.com and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to our illustrator for that piece, our dangerous Dave McDowell, who is a Flip City revolting artist. And if you're in the mood for more shock and awe, check out his website at livingroomfloorgallery.com. And I will drop that in the chats as well. So I will do that now. I meant to do that while you were reading, but I'm getting better at this.
While we have a quick pause, I just wanted to ask Alex, have you ever been approached or have you ever considered writing actual screenplays from your books to turn them into movies? Because I would very much enjoy watching the Guy Fawkes trilogy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would love to do that. I have written a few screenplays based on the books. I worry that the predominantly left-leaning media, the Hollywood media.
You mean Hollyweird, the libtards? I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
That's another way to say it. Considering I wouldn't necessarily say I'm conservative. Like Guy Fawkes, I'm just not on the political spectrum at all. But I'd say I lean more towards traditional values as a God-fearing man. I would say I'm more conservative, and I kind of carry my cross in my pocket, but I don't think that my plots and the views expressed sometimes by my characters would be accepted by Hollywood or Netflix, unfortunately.
You know, I'd like to think, however, that there is a big indie movement. That's kind of what this stream's about, is celebrating the indies. I'd like to hope there's a giant indie movement. And with the advance of technology and all that, there's going to be a real renaissance in filmmaking. So never say never.
Well, funny you should mention that. I heard Ben Shapiro has created a media company and is looking for content. And I sent 10 copies of Factory of Lies to the Daily Wire, hoping that he, Matt Walsh, and some of the guests, the backstage speakers, like Dr. Jordan Peters. Oh, quiet.
I did hear that one. Yes, I did.
Oh, you hush. I was hoping that Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Candace Owens, Dr. Jordan Peterson would get a chance to read the book, especially since I mentioned Matt Walsh and Dr. Jordan Peterson by name in that book. Hope that they'd read it and maybe look favorably upon the prospect of making a film out of it or a series.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it would translate well.
Well, you never know. Me personally, and this is not to poo-poo your idea of doing that. We've been doing it for 4 years, sending our stuff out to, you know, the clouty of the cloutiness. And you know, I don't know. I've come to the conclusion, if you don't have enough of your own online clout, nobody's going to pay attention, no matter how great you are.
Right.
No matter how great you are. But that's me being a doomer, a naysayer. You did not, you say?
I have yet to hear back from Mr. Shapiro.
But you never know.
And Charlie Kirk and Dan Bongino.
And most likely you won't, because they're in their own world, so to speak.
It's kind of like there's cliques in the truth and freedom movement. You know, it's like everybody made their own little clubs.
Yeah. I felt like what I was doing by sending all of them copies of the books was I wrote my message in various bottles and threw them into the sea. And wherever they land, I'm fine with that. I just want somebody to hear it.
You know what? And you're absolutely right, because that's pretty much exactly what we did as well. And I've made friends with people like James Corbett and the Salty Cracker. It's like the people that find the message, and will help you out.
I would strongly recommend getting a hold of Donald Trump's people after 2025. There will be, based on what I'm seeing and how I've been following the news, DWAC, which is his production company, I guess.
Yeah.
DWAC will be acquiring either radio, television, or movie housing or development thereof. So it's not far off. Conservative Channel is coming.
President Trump might like it because he also appears in the book.
I love it. You might want to just send him a copy.
I don't say the name President Trump or Melania. I say the president and the first lady, much in the same way that in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Hunter S. Thompson only ever referred to his attorney as my attorney. So it could be anybody who is the president or the first lady on the 6th of January in 2021.
Sure.
Do you reference the date in the book?
Yes.
Excellent. That's
whole
it.
point of the Factory of Lies is the film studio in Langley, Virginia, where they create fake news, and where their teams of actors pulled off the January 6th hoax. That's what the book is about.
I love that.
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
It's the planning and execution of that hoax. And where Guy Fawkes comes in, his old colleagues come, they find him, and they first they ask, hey, listen, we've got to pull off this hoax that's every bit as big as 9/11, but you know how you never always said you don't go into a situation with one plan, you go in with 10. We need to have every single contingency prepared for, so that we don't mess up like we did on 9/11 and leave all of this evidence that's plain to see, that anybody who's willing to look can just go, wait a second, but this is a controlled demolition. How can you wait a second? What's all this? There are all of these problems with 9/11, as I'm sure you know. And I talk about them in the book. And they talk about them in conversations. And they say, if we'd had you on the team, we would not have made those mistakes. Well, now we're going to do something else on January 6th. We have to pull off this fake insurrection at the Capitol, and we need you to help so that everything goes off without a hitch. And of course, he says, no. So they have to make him an offer he can't refuse. And the story takes place over 3 days, January 4th, 5th, and 6th, resulting in the commission of that hoax and the stealing of laptops from the Speaker of the House's office and a few others.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And, more people need to be doing creative works like yours, exposing the truth in as interesting ways as possible, because we are up against a giant propaganda machine. In fact, in the last week, I came across somebody's putting out a "What if January 6th actually succeeded" graphic novel, and it is so disgusting. And so I'm like, okay, who's putting this out? Did a little research. I found out who it was. I have forgotten. I did not write the name down, but somebody that is very dialed into the beast system, and I'm like, oh, yep, that is just paid propaganda, and crowdfunding it at like it's some kind of indie, and yeah.
AstroTurf, they call it, right?
Yes, definitely AstroTurf. And on that note, Alex, I don't know how much more time you have. I want to continue our conversation, but I do want to drop YouTube, and I have a special thing, an intermission. I took the Sunnyvale Firing Squad reading at 7 minutes that you did, and I want to play that as an intermission before we drop YouTube. Is that okay? Do you want to hang out a little more at our after party?
That will give me a chance to run downstairs and tell them to make my dinner.
Okay, that sounds.
We're closing in 15 minutes, so I'd like to get that.
Yes, please. You do that. I can go to the bathroom. I can grab a quick snack, and I just wanted to say thank you to at least Great Hater for being over there on YouTube. I believe you were the only one to pop in. Oh wait. Hold on. Let me just check YouTube real quick. Oh, Wayne Watson popped in. That is one of our subscribers. So thank you, Wayne, for popping in. I am dropping the links if you guys want to join us over on Pilled, Odyssey, or Rumble for an after party discussion. But thank you, YouTube, for coming to Creative Chaos. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. All Alex's links are in the thingamajig. All right. So all Alex's links are in the description. And Cosmic, if we can just go ahead and play that 7-minute clip, and then we'll drop YouTube.
Do you ever wonder how so many kids suddenly became trans? Professor Nightingale asked. Kevin and Danny exchanged a look, and Esmeralda watched it like a hawk, trying to read it from across the table. Yeah, Danny said. It's not that they're more than ever, it's that now they finally have the courage to come out. Nice sentiment, Nightingale said, but no, it's actually pretty sinister. Let's think, hypothetically, what a parent would do if he wanted his kid to be trans, because let's face it, there have been a lot of parents who wanted it. They want the bragging rights. Here, Kevin thought of Debbie, wanting so bad for him to be gay, really pushing it on him. So, to help kids transition, they're given hormones, right? But how do you make them want to get the hormones in the first place? How do you make someone so sure they're in the wrong body and have been all their life? We've been giving children more vaccines now than ever before. A bunch of shots since birth, and I used to believe what I was told. They're for tetanus, measles, mumps, whatever. Until. He put everyone in suspense for a moment by having another bite of paella and making them wait until he'd swallowed. Until I actually read the ingredients. He looked at them heavily and glanced once more at his wife, who nodded almost imperceptibly. Besides toxins to make them sick, have allergies, and be loyal clients to pharmaceutical companies, we've been shooting boys up with girl hormones and girls up with boy hormones and pretending that we're keeping them safe from polio. They grow up with these feelings and urges that completely contradict their nature, and the explanation that's been crammed down their throat is that they're obviously not the gender they've been assigned. And why would someone do this? He asked rhetorically, cutting Danny off in a preemptive strike. Because AIDS didn't work. Abortion didn't work. Even turning people gay didn't work. They're still churning out babies, and the people in charge don't like it. They made that movie Idiocracy trying to warn us, and it didn't work. So they started attacking us from birth, shooting our kids up with puberty blockers and hormones so they'll volunteer to castrate themselves as soon as they're old enough. Did they make you read 1984 in school? He asked. Kevin shook his head. That's one of the banned books. Professor Nightingale's eyes narrowed. Of course it is, he said bitterly. Well, in it, they're torturing the hero, and they ask, how many fingers am I holding up? He correctly says 4, and they hurt him again. The next time they ask him, he says, 5, anything you like, just please stop the pain. It's like before the revolution, they were arresting people for calling a man dressed up as a woman he. Anyone who wasn't willing to pretend a man in a wig was a woman was publicly made to suffer until we all capitulated. The trans woman is the new how many fingers. But Abraham Lincoln once asked how many legs a calf has if we count the tail as a leg. When someone said 5, he said, calling a tail a leg doesn't make it a leg. This might be a little over your heads, but I teach it in my college class. The people who control the masses know that if something's going to catch on, it's got to have what they call a low ability threshold. It has to be something that any monkey can do easily, like abstract art or that backpack dance. When the opportunity to be part of something new and trendy is easy as pie, everyone will hop on the bandwagon. If you tell the world that going to all the trouble of learning how to dance well or painting something realistic is passé, everyone who wants to dance or be called an artist, while putting forth minimal effort, will jump at the chance. So, the point? Imagine you're not attractive at all and have 0 skills or personality. No one's going to want to hang out with you in school. You need to find a way to be relevant. Enter the pronouns. A cheap ticket into the fastest growing clique. Just dye your hair blue or pink and wear the uniform of nonconformity. There's nothing to it. Be the loudest kid shouting fascist at anyone who's trying to talk sense and be willing to glue yourself to things and you'll get invited places. Only I'd peep the lick, as they say. My kids have never had a single shot and we kept them as far away from anyone who might poison their minds as possible, he said proudly, and the children all beamed without really knowing why. I decided I'd stop participating in that evil and became a history professor instead, so that I can teach people what's happening to them, and maybe enough of them can wake up and we can all do something about it. But, Danny interrupted, unable to contain himself any longer, you're one of them. You're so pro-party you practically brought them here. Esmeralda glared at Danny, and the children saw it and mimicked her expression. Dr. Nightingale just smiled bitterly and nodded. Not exactly, he said. I met with other men in the town, like your father. He nodded to Kevin. We agreed that it was all a trick, the whole woke movement, the riots, to destabilize us and become a communist country. Same thing happened in Venezuela, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Peru, Canada. While your dad said we had to stand up and be brave and resist, I said we have to be sneaky like the bad guys. I told your dad, be careful, they'll kill you. Kevin swallowed hard. and saw the dancing glitter swirling around Professor Nightingale's face as he spoke. Many people didn't realize that they'd already legally bound themselves by scrolling down and accepting terms and conditions without reading them, namely, the part about swearing fealty to the party. Even if they wanted to contest it, they didn't have the chance because the invasion put enemies at their own back door. Did you know the Venezuelan embassy in Iran gave away visas to terrorists? Muslim extremists came over to South America and joined the illegal immigrant caravans, marching all the way up into Arizona, California, Texas. They were bussed all across the U.S. to sanctuary cities. Because if you look at a bunch of brown people in a crowd, you can't tell that one's from Latin America and that one's from Pakistan. Not if the only dark people you ever see is on television. So, people didn't notice. Hey, those are Hamas, those are Al-Qaeda. What I'm saying is, they hit us from every direction. They turned black against white, woman against man, gay against straight, vaxxed against pure blood, and they kept pushing us on all fronts until the breaking point that allowed them the excuse to take over. They brought in sleeper cells to wage jihad when we were all divided. And when the gun-toting white man stood up for himself, they swooped in with their Chinese military to seize the guns and make the switch. And here we are. Did I cheer them on? Hell no. But when I saw that they'd already won, I changed my tune. Yes, I admit it. You can't organize an underground railroad from a jail cell awaiting execution. The boys looked at him skeptically, but Esmeralda reassured them with a tight-lipped smile and a grave nod. I'm sorry about your dad, Professor Nightingale said. I tried to talk sense into him, but he wasn't having it. He thought he could vote our way out of this mess, but communism is the kind of thing you can't cure with meetings. You have to shoot your way out, and we have no guns. A sharp knock on the door made them jump half out of their skins.